What's going on, guys? Mickle here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you this clip of Jay Clayton. I literally could not believe this when I saw it. For those of you who don't know, Jay Clayton was the former SEC chair who brought this entire lawsuit against Ripple. The day after filing this lawsuit, he snuck out of office because he knew he was going to lose. He filed a lawsuit that was essentially unwinnable by the SEC, but what it was is essentially an attack on Ripple the company, because now Ripple is forced to deal with this whole thing when they could be making strides in the US and growing their business. While there's a ton of different theories why he did it, that's not really what this video is about. The fact of the matter is, the entire time Jay Clayton was in office, pretty much nothing got done for blockchain technology, other than giving Ethereum and Bitcoin a free pass. I wanted to show you this interview because he is now going around being paraded, first of all, like some blockchain expert, and it's pretty obvious by listening to him talk, he really doesn't have the slightest idea what he's talking about. But I just think it's so hypocritical how bullish he suddenly is on this entire industry. I mean, this is a guy who essentially had the power to get a lot done for blockchain, a lot done for crypto, and his agency essentially did nothing. I mean, yeah, they gave some corrupt free passes, but I mean, other than that, nothing was really done to progress the industry. He picked a couple winners and losers, and then on his last act, essentially filed a lawsuit that damaged the entire industry. So I want to go through this clip, kind of tell you what I think about the different things he's saying, because I think we can take some very interesting stuff away from this. But most importantly, I'm going to tell you what this really shows about his true intentions at the end of the video. So make sure you stick around for that. So let's play this and see what our old friend Jay Clayton has to say here.
Assets or old assets or familiar assets being digitized are here to stay. And it also signals that they're going to be regulated to the extent that they are financial.
So already he says that he believes old assets will be digitized, will be tokenized, and that is here to stay. I agree with him. I mean, there's definitely going to be a lot of old assets converted to the blockchain. We've already seen that with Banco Santander. They've been tokenizing assets, but I think it's also critical to understand that when this new financial system is built on blockchain technology, it's going to create new products that we've never seen before. It's going to create new financial instruments that are likely going to trump the old ones and make them look tiny in comparison. So while it's easy to see the old system coming online, I think it's more important to focus on the new system being built.
Products, investments, and the like, with the same principles, time-tested principles that we've had for a long time. Consumer protection, investor protection, stability, anti-money laundering, those types of things. And there's one very important thing that is in this order.
What's wrong with his eyes?
And that is a recognition that technological advancement is important for the continued prominence of the US dollar.
Okay, so this is where it starts to get really annoying, because he understands that, and this is a very important thing to understand here. The US dollar doesn't really have any utility as it is. The US essentially weaponizes the dollar so they can punish other countries for being bad. Well, with technology now, other countries are able to form digital forms of their own currencies that have utility and essentially allow them to escape the oppression that the dollar has put on them. Some countries, yes, the dollar has helped, but others, the dollar has been essentially used as a weapon against them. So countries now have an option that they never really had before, and they have a feasible way to opt out of the dollar. One way to essentially prevent this from happening is bringing the dollar utility that makes other countries more susceptible to using it, and it creates the dollar's prominence as a digital currency. If another country like China was to launch a digital currency that was super convenient for everyone to have, a lot of people would simply take that digital currency just because it was the easiest thing. So for the dollar to stay competitive, it needs to go digital, because if other currencies are digital, the dollars are simply going to be left behind, because suddenly there's going to be this new utility layer added to money, and the dollar needs to be able to catch up or it's going to lose its prominence, and thus the dollar is going to lose its reserve status faster. And I think we're already moving to a system where there's going to be multiple reserve currencies, but there's also no question in my mind the dollar is going to stay up top and be near the number one or number two, regardless if there's other more prominent ones. The really bad thing here is Jay Clayton had the power to put a lot of this in place when he was in government and chose not to. He had the votes, he had people on his side at the SEC to put things through that would do exactly what he's talking about. But rather than doing anything, he sat in office, picked a couple winners and losers, and then filed a case that destroyed the crypto industry and really made entrepreneurs terrified to build in the United States. So he talks a big game now, but when he was in office, he was doing absolutely nothing and actually damaged the industry, and that's what's so annoying about all of this.
But Jay, in terms of just understanding, we were talking earlier, does this effectively say, okay, this is here to stay, that there's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube?
I think it depends on what you're talking about in terms of the technology. And you want to call it blockchain technology or some distributed ledger or some other term. The technology coming to the financial system is absolutely here to stay, including some form of stablecoin. I think we've all seen that stablecoin as a bridge from what I'll say the crypto new asset world to our incumbent financial system has demonstrated incredible power and scale. So that type of asset, that type of functionality, I believe is definitely here to stay.
So it's just like, if suddenly you're so confident on crypto and suddenly you see this such an important innovation in stablecoins, why didn't you do anything? He had the power to do all this and put this innovation through when he was in office. He had the votes to do it. And now we're stuck with Gary Gensler, who seems like he's trying to walk back on this innovation. And we had this guy who suddenly claims he loves this innovation, and when he was in office, he did nothing but hurt the industry. This is what's so crazy about this, and this is what boils my blood, and other people who essentially watched Jay Clayton in office do none of the things he's talking about now, and now having to deal with Gary Gensler, who doesn't seem like he's going to do it either. And that's what makes this so frustrating, because it's like, you could have done this, but no, you'd rather just talk about it.
Whether a particular new crypto asset is here to stay or what value it will have,
does this say anything? Does this say anything about whether Bitcoin stays or goes?
I think what it says about particular assets is if they can demonstrate that they are functioning as people expect they will, whether it's an inflation hedge, a store of value.
One thing, who still thinks Bitcoin's going to go? Like, it's been 13 years, it's been through financial crises, and it's been more stable than literally assets that the normal financial system claims is stable, like oil. Bitcoin's been way more stable than that. Like, where do you think it's going to go? Bitcoin has died so many times. Crypto has died so many times. It's still here. It's not going away. To still be asking that question, you have to understand what these people even, not Jay, it seems like Jay at least understands that. It's just more annoying that he did nothing. But this guy, Andrew Skorkinson, who's interviewing him, like, dude, what do you take? How many people on crypto do you have to interview before you get the idea that, like, dude, it's not going away, get over it?
A transfer in a very efficient way.
But Jay, you just said something interesting. You said, do they function as they're expected to? That's a fascinating way to think about it, because
absolutely,
I don't know what you think Bitcoin is supposed to function as.
Okay, so I mean, I started this to roast Jay, and honestly, this dude Andrew is like, what do you mean, what is it supposed to function as? Like, do you not see what's happening all over the world with fiat-based currencies and how people are literally escaping their own currency and going into Bitcoin? I mean, he's essentially trying to make the argument right now that Bitcoin has no utility. It's like, you can transfer value all over the world, liquid in every single country with no intermediary, and you have a financial asset that cannot be corrupted by governments. Like, no matter what you decide that value deserves, it deserves a value. So the fact that this guy can't even understand that, I mean, it just shows the low caliber of intellect you have going on in this interview. And then he just finishes it off. He's literally like, oh, and shows a 1 month price chart of Bitcoin. It's like, dude, what do you think is happening in any market right now? It's all going down. So why is it that your perception of the value of something depends on what a line does on a month time frame? It's like zoom out and just look at these things. Well, before I rant any further, I hope this was helpful to you guys. I think the most important thing we can take away from this is that these people in office, when they're there, they are concerned about one thing and one thing only, and that's power. The only thing Jay Clayton was there to do was make money and get power for the agency and feel like he was the top dog. Nothing was about pushing his beliefs. Nothing was about helping digital assets, helping the US revolutionize his financial system. None of that was in his head. He wanted to see how much power and how much money he could make. And now he walks around saying, oh, well, I hope the US does this now, but I don't want to be the guy to do it. He didn't want to do any of the hard work. He just simply wants to benefit from it. And that's the type of dude he is. He doesn't want to make change. He wants to have the change made for him, and then he can sit there and reap the rewards. Ultimately, I don't think there's much we can do about it at this point. He'll probably get away scot-free. He'll get away with the terrible job he did, and he's going to be able to profit from it. Hopefully, karma comes back for him. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much. Have a good night. For now, Mickle out.